Hi, fifth graders. Happy Friday. I hope that you're having a nice morning and that you've done something good for yourself, like maybe meditated for a few minutes, written down a few things you're grateful for, or maybe run up and down the stairs a few times quietly in your house to get your body moving. Today, we're going to read 10 more pages of As Brave as You. I am super into this book right now. I hope that you guys like it as much as me. On our Google Classroom stream, I posted an announcement that says, what do you guys think of the book so far? I want to know what your take is on it. I was really shocked by what happened yesterday, and I'm excited to see if we're going to learn more about why blind Grandpop has a gun in his pants right now. I have no idea because I'm reading this for the first time with you guys, which is super cool. A few announcements. I want you to know that on the Google Classroom, I have started using the tab up at the top of your screen. It's like right here that says classwork. If you click on that, it's basically digital worksheets that are made for you. I made it and you all have your own copy. So when you click it, it will open up and it will be just for you. And there's 3 worksheets on there I want you to be using. Number 1, I want you to be doing your do now in that worksheet. I made it rainbow color. It's super cute. You're welcome. 2, I want you to be writing your journal entries on the journal worksheet, which is again rainbow color. You're welcome again. It really is cute. Click on it. You have to go look how cute it is. So you do your do nows and your journals on there. And 3rd, I typed all of the comprehension questions for As Brave as You out there on this, okay? Dylan T, major shout out. You did a fabulous job. Thank you for doing that. What Dylan did, guys, is she opened up that comprehension sheet. After every question, she used tag and wrote her answer, and she made all of her answers purple so it was easy for me to see. She got a 100%, and I was able to put that grade into Jupyter for her. So please do that as well, and then I'll be able to get those grades into Jupyter so you get credit for all the hard work you're doing. Next Friday, you are going to have a Unit 10 vocabulary exam. I found a way to give you a vocabulary exam even though I can't see you. So make sure you're really studying for that. Make sure you're keeping up with the vocab lessons that I'm posting on here. And obviously, if you happen to be bored, if it becomes a rainy day or something, go on to Quizlet and have a little bit of extra fun time. Send me a message if you want me to try to organize Quizlet Live for us next week. I bet if we all got on our computers or our tablets at the same time, we could possibly play Quizlet Live together, even without being able to see each other. That'd be pretty dope. Back to our book, we're on page 56, and we're going to read 10 pages today. If you need to pause right now to go get your book, you can. Please make sure that you're annotating as we read so that you can be engaging with the text. Top of 56. Who is it? Grandma called through the screen door. Just the church, Grandpop said. Why didn't you answer it? Jeannie asked. He figured people always answered the phone whenever the church was calling. It just seemed like the right thing to do. Maybe they were going to tell Grandpop about a miracle to fix his eyes. 'Cause you and me shooting the breeze. Plus, they just want to pray for the sick, and that's nice and all, but I ain't sick, Grandpop told him. And before Jeannie could even think on whether or not Grandpop being blind was, in fact, a sickness, especially since he said he had glaucoma, which was a disease, another question popped out. How did you know it was the church? You memorized phone numbers? Yep. Even mine? Even yours. I don't believe that. Why not? Because you never call, Jeannie said. Grandma does, but you don't. Do you guys think that Jeannie was trying to be rude? Do you think he was rude? I think that was a little mean. Grandpop looked towards the window, which was kind of weird because he couldn't see out of it. He ran his tongue along his top teeth, and then he turned back towards Jeannie. Well, I know it still. Then what is it? He tapped his forehead with his pointer finger. I'm not sure. Shucks, I swear, this has never happened. See? Jeannie knew that Grandpop wouldn't have known. Grandpop poked him in the arm. How did he know that his arm was even over there anyway? Then Grandpop said, I'm joking. 646-555-8349. I can tell you your daddy's cell, your mama's cell, and their work numbers too, if you like, boss. And your address. What is it then? My address. Jeannie couldn't seem to stop testing him. It's 346 Mason Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11233. The man on the radio was laughing about something, then said, "It's just unbelievable." And even though the announcer was talking about some news, it seemed like he was talking about Grandpop. Jeannie smiled and took another sip of tea. "So, what else you got?" Grandpop prompted. "Okay." Jeannie thought madly for the next question. "Got it. Why do you wear those sunglasses if you can't see no sun?" Grandpop laughed just like the man on the radio had. "Why do I wear them? Because they look cool. Why else?" That was the same reason that Ernie wore his all the time. Total Pete and repeat. Jeannie looked at his reflection in Grandpop's shades. Then he held a finger up and moved it close to Grandpop's face. He just had to try it. "Get your finger out of my face and ask the next question," Grandpop demanded. Not in a mean way, but definitely in a serious way. Jeannie yanked his hand back so fast that he banged it on the table. "Ah!" he hissed, flicking his hand around like it was on fire. His Grandpop just grinned. "Okay," Jeannie said, massaging his fingers. "Do you just sit here all day?" "Do I what? Of course not. That's no way to live. Plus, the seat is too hard on my old butt." Jeannie wanted to follow with, "But you got a gun back there, so don't that hurt it?" But for some reason, he just couldn't bring himself to say it. So he asked, "How do you know where your room is, though? What if you got to go to the bathroom?" "I'm only blind, son. My junk still works." Grandpa's shoulders began to bounce up and down. "Not like that," Jeannie yelped, busting out laughing. "I mean, how?" "I count." "Count?" Jeannie raised one eyebrow. "Math? I hate math. Can we all get a disagree?" We love math at St. James School. "I used to, but now I love it because I have to use it every day." "What do you mean?" "Counting. From my room to the kitchen, 13 steps. From my room to the bathroom, 10 steps. From the kitchen to the bathroom, 16 steps. From the kitchen to the front door, 11 steps. It's all counting." "That's cool." That might be a fun thing for you to do if you get bored. Try to map out your house or your apartment based on how many steps it takes to get everywhere. It was cool. And it was also cool that Grandpop was letting Jeannie ask all these questions without getting upset about it. Ernie would have punched him by now. And, by the way, where was Ernie? Still out there with that dog? It had been forever. Plus, Dad made it very clear that they were supposed to look out for each other. Plus, Jeannie was nosy. Plain and simple. So he asked Grandpop for a timeout when he went to check on where Ernie was. Out on the porch, Jeannie was surprised to discover that it was actually hotter inside the house than outside. A small bird hopped along one of the wooden floor planks. It had deep blue feathers along its back all the way down to its tail, which seemed to split in two like a snake's tongue. The blue of the bird came up over its eyes and head like a hood, but under the beak all along the chest its feathers turned reddish-orange. Jeannie had never seen a bird like it. He was used to pigeons, birds that matched the color of concrete. Nothing like this. A bird that matched the color of the sky and the country dirt. It pecked at something in between the cracks. Jeannie slowly swatted to get a better look at it without scaring it off. But of course, that didn't go as planned. In one quick, fluid movement, the bird lifted its head, turned all the way around, spied Jeannie, and flew away. Jeannie jumped off the porch and headed around the side of the house to where Ernie was stroking the top of Samantha's head and whispering in her ear like a weirdo. "What you doing?" Jeannie asked. "Teaching her some stuff," Ernie said. "By talking to her?" "Yep. There's a whole TV show dedicated to this method," Ernie said, all confident. He had a way of saying stuff that made Jeannie believe it, even if it didn't really make much sense. "If you say so." Then, looking around, not seeing Grandma, Jeannie asked where she was. "I don't know. Probably on the other side of the house," Ernie said. Then he began that whispering business with the dog again. Jeannie had only come out to see if Ernie was cool, and he was cool, so Jeannie was cool. Back at the front door, Jeannie remembered what Grandpop said about counting his steps, and he decided to test it. It took him 13 steps to get to the kitchen. Grandpop said it took him 11, but Jeannie figured that was because his legs were longer. Grandpop was still at the table, turning the dial on his radio, trying to clear up the fuzz. "So, has your brother been eaten?" he asked. "Nope." Jeannie sat back down, feeling good about the fact that he had checked on Ernie, and he was ready to dive back in with the questions. "Good. Now, where were we in this interrogation?" Grandpop asked. "Interrogation? I mean, interview," Grandpop teased. Then he slipped in. Detective Jeannie Harris, or maybe Detective Littlewood. Either way, it was kind of cool. "Okay, let's see." Jeannie put his hands together and tried to think. "Does Grandma pick out your clothes?" "Why? Don't you like them?" "They're okay." "Good, because I picked them out myself." Grandpop made a fuss at brushing a little nothing off of his shoulder. "They all black and white?" He laughed. "Ha! No way!" "Then how do you match them?" Jeannie asked. "Funny you should ask, Detective. Touch right here." Grandpa unrolled his shirt sleeve and held the cuff out. "Right there. You feel that?" Jeannie ran his finger over the fabric, hitting a cluster of little bumps, like the shirt had invisible goose pimples. "What does that feel like?" Grandpop said. "I don't know," Jeannie answered, unsure. "Close your eyes," Grandpop instructed. Jeannie closed his eyes and rubbed his fingers over the same bumpy spot. He didn't know what he was supposed to be figuring out. "What is it?" Jeannie opened his eyes. He had nothing. "It's a W. Stands for white. That's how I know this is a white shirt I've got on," Grandpop explained. Jeannie rubbed his finger over the little knots one more time, and then it became clear. It was, in fact, a W. Your grandma started sewing initials into everything for me when we found out that I was going blind. Fancy little stitches called French knots. A blue shirt has a B. A red shirt has an R. My trousers have the letters sewn into the waistband, and even my socks have them, so I never look crazy." "But you are crazy, remember?" Jeannie reminded him. Grandpa laughed again and put his hand on top of Jeannie's head. He did it with no hesitation, like he knew exactly where Jeannie's head was. How did he do that? "Yeah, but the key is to never look crazy." Grandpa rolled his sleeve back up to his elbow. "Anything else?" he challenged. The iced tea was almost gone, and it actually started tasting pretty good. As a matter of fact, Jeannie wanted more. The thing was, Ma was big on not being too greedy when you're at other people's houses, so Jeannie didn't want to ask Grandpop for it. But dang, it was so hot and the tea was so cold. "Yeah, what's your name?" "Grandpop." "No, your real name." Grandpop looked at Jeannie, and for a second it seemed like he could actually see him. Like he looked at him. "Brooke." Jeannie had heard Grandma say the same thing, but he hadn't been sure he'd heard her right. "Brooke? Like the girl's name?" Quick pause. We have learned there's no such thing as a girl's name or a boy's name. Remember? We talked about that. Back to the book. Grandpop flashed a thin smile. "It's a girl's name? Is it a girl's name if it's my name?" Jeannie had never really thought about it that way. He had never heard a man named Brooke, but he could relate to it being a girl's name because Jeannie was a girl's name too. There were some guys back at home who teased him about it. That is, until Ernie came around. Then they quieted all that, "Your mom wanted you to be a girl, Jeannie," and Jeannie, the girl with the weenie" stuff down. But Grandpop had a girl's name and a guy's name, had a girl's name as a guy's name, and was cool with it. So maybe his name wasn't necessarily a girl's name after all. It was just his. That's where we're going to pause for today. I want you to click the classwork button that is here-ish on the Google Classroom. I want you to click on the As Brave as You comprehension questions, and I want you to answer as many of them for chapters 1 through, I think we're in chapter 3 right now, as you're able to. When you're done answering those questions, please go to the YouTube video for vocabulary, review yesterday's correct answers, and do today's vocabulary assignment. See you in a few minutes. Don't forget to use tag. It's important. It's important.